Peace. This is the Ask Your Oldhead Podcast with Justice Raji. I am here with my good brother, Jinho Ferreira. Peace, Jinho.
What's happening?
Feeling good. So
yes,
we just
sir.
Gonna get into it. So the Ask Your Oldhead Podcast, we always start with a moment of reverence. So is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to or thank you to?
I want to give a shout out to my mama. My mama held it down tremendously. She continues to hold it down. You know, my mama didn't have a college degree. She had a high school diploma. You know, but everything she did it to the fullest. She made us read at a very young age. You know, I was reading somewhere around, I believe, age 3 toward age 4. And she used to force me to read when I was a youngster. And then when I got bigger than her, she paid me to read. She told me I was going to be a writer. That was the last thing I wanted to be. And now I turn around and I see I've written many a song and, you know, anthems for the Winter and Summer Olympics. And now I've won screenplay writing competitions. And lo and behold, I'm a writer. So thank you, Mama, for doing everything that you did.
Indeed. That's peace.
Yeah,
gotta love moms. That's what's up. So we're going to get into the first question, which is, you know, what is just a standard or a practice that you hold yourself to as a man, as an adult, as a human? You know, what was a standard, just one?
A standard? You know, I just try to, you know, I make sure that I push myself. I make sure that I'm trying as hard as I possibly can as often as possible. You know, be it in a workout or, you know, just writing or reading comprehension. If I get tired, I continue. I just, you know, I try to put myself in a position where I'm fighting as hard as I possibly can as frequently as possible, because I know that, you know, this world could put more pressure on me than I could ever imagine. So I try to imagine putting pressure on myself as frequent as possible. So when the world decides to do that, I'll at least be halfway ready for it. So, you know, that's it. I do stuff like get up in the morning and take a cold shower or jump in a freezing cold swimming pool and just push myself through it. You know, when I'm working out, you know, sometimes it's an easy workout, but, you know, more often than not, I find myself pushing myself as hard as I can, because I believe that, you know, if I'm willing to do what other people are not willing to do, then it's likely that I'm going to get what they can't get, you know, and I've been reaping a lot of the benefits. I feel extremely blessed. You know, I feel extremely blessed in all areas of my life. But, you know, I got to remember that I'm pushing myself and I'm doing the things that a lot of people that I know won't do. As far as rapping is concerned, I can never remember myself being the best rapper. I was treacherous. You know, I was good. I was a force to be reckoned with, but I was never the best rapper in my circles. You know, but none of the cats that I came up with that were rapping better than me have traveled farther than me or gone farther than me in the game. Right. And, you know, I just believe that's because of everything else that I brought to the table. I'm a believer that talent is overrated. I think talent is overrated and hard work is underrated. So I work as hard as I possibly can and try to be consistent as much as I can. Control my thinking, remain positive. Nothing has meaning other than the meaning that I give it. So as far as I'm concerned, everything happens for a reason, and that reason is for my benefit. As long as I believe that, I'm going to keep pushing because I know that I'm going to win. Indeed. You know, who lets off the gas when they know that they're going to win? Nobody. So, you know, my beliefs and the way that I think, my thoughts, I try to control them as much as possible to the end that it makes me more productive.
All right.
I hope I answered the question.
You did.
I'm known to ramble.
Indeed. No, that was that. You definitely answered the question. Is there any particular experience in terms of your life or an event that kind of solidified that this is the approach that you had to take to things, or has it always been this way for you?
It has not always. Has it been this way for me? I think my mother instilled in us that we would win. You know, just if you never give up, you're gonna win. I think she gave us that. But, you know, I can't, there are many different instances, many different things that happen in my life that I could point to and I can recognize that, you know, that was a lesson. And, you know, they may seem insignificant if I told you. You know, say, for instance, one time I got to the beach, I was going to run the beach, and I'm walking up to the shore, and I look in the distance, maybe a mile or a little over that, up the beach, and I saw a guy running, you know, and a thought just crossed my mind, you know, I'm never going to catch this dude. But it wasn't a big thing. I just basically put my head down and started running. And I don't feel like I was running faster than I've ever run before, but, you know, maybe 20 minutes later, I looked up and I was passing him. And, you know, I don't know if that dude stopped and meditated or went to the bathroom and came. I don't know what he did. Or I don't know if I was just running twice as fast as he was. But what it taught me was, you know, it doesn't matter how impossible things may look from the beginning. You know, if you put your head down and just start working, put your head down and start running and go in and point your body and your mind in the right direction, you could defeat it. So, you know, that's something that would seem small and insignificant to a lot of people, but you know, that's something that I can't forget. I can't let that go. And I got 100 more of those stories.
Indeed. So, something you said that I wanted to add on to that you said about talent and hard work. And I'm similar in belief that the concept, I feel like the concept of talent sort of diminishes people's work. Because it's often you get this thing of like, oh, he's just so talented. And it's like you didn't do nothing. You just magically appeared on Earth at 25, amazingly gifted at something. Yeah. And it's like, no one that I know that is highly skilled at anything, whether that's physical or something engaging, you know, their mental faculties, just did it without any works. That there wasn't any time of practice or skill development or commitment to this thing that they become very adept at. So I just always sort of bristle at the idea, like, where people, oh, it's just so talented, it's so magical. It's like, nah, and especially as black people, like, people like to say, you know, everything that we did is magical. It's like, ooh, y'all just appeared out the womb. And it's like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like in other countries and other cultures. But I know as Americans, we're really addicted to this story about the overnight success, and the guy did it all by himself, and he pulled himself up by his own bootstraps, and he was just born that way. Mm-hmm. You know, we really love to tell that story to the point that, you know, that aspect of the story overshadows all the hard work that goes into a lot of the people that we worship, you know, a lot of their careers. Like, you know, these kids were out there. You know, Venus and Serena were out there on that tennis court. Beyonce was dancing in that living room when she was a little kid. Mm-hmm. You know, for countless hours. She wasn't at the party and the barbecue and the function and the sleepover and all of that. And, you know, that's not honored. Like, I don't see that being honored in the circles that I'm in. I don't see that being honored. I see, well, you know, she can sing. She was born with a voice. You know, that guy he was a fast runner. You know, he was born fast and strong. And, and we like to tell the stories of the John Henry. Right. You know, we're addicted to that story. I don't know if that's a human being thing, an American thing, a black community thing. I don't know what it is, man. Indeed. But I know that it could be detrimental. Indeed. I know it hurts a lot of people. I know a lot of dudes take pride in being a basketball star and smoking weed the day before the game and shooting dice with the Rolls Royce pulled up on the, the corner. And it's like a lot of dudes mess up their whole career because they take pride in that, and people marvel at that. Man, that dude got a game tomorrow. He was out here smoking with us. It's ignorant. Right. But that seems to be what, what people, that seems to be the story that people want to tell. And, I fell into a lot of that, man. Disrespecting the gifts and disrespecting the opportunities because it was cool. Right. And I felt like I could get, some type of higher social status if I disrespected the opportunity and the gifts. And, you can make some very bad decisions doing that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have.
Most definitely. Thank you. I just wanted to dig into that one. So on the next tip, can you give me something that you've learned or come to understand about relationships? And that's broadly defined. So that's, relationships with people business-wise, romantic relationships, family, what have you, that you understand better now that maybe you didn't understand so well as a younger man.
As a younger man, I think relationships that when everyone gets something out of it, they're going to be better. I'm not a mathematician, but, when two people join their forces together, something greater, the sum is greater than the two parts that are added together. Mm-hmm. It's like they're multiplied as opposed to just added, Right. That's something I really can't explain, but I've learned that along the way. It doesn't have to be, one person wins and the other person loses. When two people win, it's always a good thing, and those relationships last a lot longer, be it business or, friendships or relationships. I'm a guy that I've always had trust issues. Growing up, and I think being able to look beyond the person and look into their values, what they value and what their goals are and what are their world beliefs, what do they hold dear, because principles are like eternal. Those are like invisible law. Like you have man's law and then you have laws of the universe. Mm-hmm. And if you find a person that believes in laws of the universe, those whatever they believe to be a law, a universal law, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to break it. Mm-hmm. So if you agree with their hierarchy of values and the laws that they believe exist, if you share that together, then that's someone that you should trust. That's someone you should build with because you know what they're about, And I think for me, it's just been a growing experience of it's been an experience of looking beyond the person and looking at what they represent in this universe and what they're committed to, who they're committed to, where they're going. All right. Because, if we're going to the same place, then we need to be walking together. All right. Because 2 heads and 2 hearts, and it's always better than one.
Indeed. As you working as I like to say, you embrace the idea that as a human, I need to be with other people, right? And then on a closer level, my decision making around who I want to be closest to is not just, it's a function of my understanding of myself and then what I want and kind of respecting the idea that someone else has something just as valuable to offer and what I have doesn't need to supersede what they have. Right. I guess my interpretation of what I'm hearing you say. Word.
Yeah. Finding worth and respecting people's path. No two people walk the same path, which means that everyone can learn something from everyone else. And for me, I mean, I learn a lot from books and documentaries and stuff, but human beings are the greatest resource for me. So, you know, being willing to learn and ready to learn and appreciating what you learn. Not just always ready to talk, but willing to listen. All those things, just stuff that I picked up along the way.
All right. So, next question. You brought up earlier when we were talking, and you're saying about your mom saying you would be, your mother, saying you would be a writer and you not believing it. or not wanting it to be true, whichever way that comes out. And I know,
writer, I'm going to the league. Want to be a star running back.
To get this money, Mom. I don't know what you talking about, right? Right. But you know, as a person that I can bear witness to your level of creative skill from, and at some point for those listening, when we post this on the show notes somewhere, there'll be some links to things that Jinho has done and is doing. Do you think you got to this place where you embraced being a creative person amidst your other skills? Because I know you do other stuff in life. Do you think you got to the point where you could kind of embrace that due to opportunities? Was it just a compulsion, a feeling of, you know, you having to be who you got to be that made it? Because here's my premise why I'm asking this question. I think sometimes for us, our community, it can be hard to embrace the idea of being creative if it's not like, well, you're going to be a famous, wealthy rapper, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to be, there's a lot of other areas of creativity where I feel like sometimes young folks might go, I really enjoy this, but I'm going to stop doing it because there's no way I'm ever going to make any money doing this.
Right.
And so my question is sort of, you know, was there a moment where you embraced the idea that you had these creative skills and you need to act on them? And what was some of maybe the motivation for that moment?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a very good question. I wanted to be the wealthy rapper, definitely. And I rapped for 7 years and made $400. You know? But I was going to be the wealthy rapper. I was trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever hot song was on the radio, how can I make one of those? And, you know, and a friend of mine, she had a movie part. She was going to be starring in this independent movie. And she needed a ride over there. She was like, you should like try to be an extra or something. And I drove her to the filming, and I happened to look at the screenplay, and I thought, I could write one of these. And I talked to the executive producer. I asked him if he was looking for any more stories. And he said, yeah. He said, why? You got one? You a writer? I was like, yeah. And he said, well, give it to me. I was like, all right, you know, I just got to touch it up a little bit. Man, I went home and wrote a movie. I went home. I had made $400 in 7 years rapping.
Right.
I went home and wrote that movie, and I called the dude, and I sold it to him for $3,000. $3,000.
That's good. I like that.
I said, I got another one. Wrote another one, $3,000.
Right.
Then I was like, oh man, I'm a writer. And then I got a job writing commercials. I'm killing the commercials. Now at this point, I'm like, man, I quit rapping. You know, I'm good. And that's when we got signed to Interscope. Mm-hmm. You know, but as far as the moment where I said I am going to be an artist, that was that's really it's really a decision.
All right.
Because I could, like a lot of people can do more than one thing.
Right.
You know, a lot of people they don't get themselves enough credit. People could do anything. It takes, you really got to make a decision as to who you want to be and who you're going to be. Even if it's just for a period in time. I'm going to be this for 5 years or 10 years. That was a decision. Something has to take the priority. Like, you can't serve two gods. You can't put money and people first.
All right.
You know, you can't, or else you'll be divided. You'll be a soul divided, and you know what happens after the divided part is conquered. You'll be conquered. You'll never reach your fullest strength and potential. So something has to come first. So me putting art first is relatively recent in my life, to be honest with you. Because I was always juggling a lot of different things. If a job came up, I got tired of working on other people's schedules, you know, and trying to, you know, coax people into doing the right thing and hoping somebody show up on time. And, you know, so if a job came up and I could do it, I was doing it. And if some money came along with it, then it moved up higher in priority. Or if some power came along with it, then it moved up higher in priority, you know? But making a decision is like, I'm an artist. That was a conscious decision that I made.
All right.
And, you know, so for this phase of my life, that's what comes first.
Okay. Indeed. Man, because you know, I just always think about, and this goes back sort of that talent piece, right? Because I work, you know, with young people and adults and families and people, and I work with people for most of the things I've done for most of my life. And the thing I've always perceived in that work is when I experience people cutting off a lane for themselves. Like, you'll be like, well, you know, what about this? And you'll be like, wow, that's pretty nice. Or they show you something that they did, and like, oh yeah, I was just, you know, thinking about this and I wrote it down. I'm like, that's nice, you should do more of that. And they kind of look at you like, nah. And I'll be like, no, really, you should. And it's like, I don't want to be making you do something you don't want to do. But on the other hand, I'm like, I think you could do that. Yeah. You know, maybe I'm an idiot. You know what I'm saying? But part of me says, you know, you read like you know, in our culture, they you know, any of the like founding fathers of the United States, they'll always be like, he was this and he did that and he was a scholar and he was you know what I'm saying? They have like 7-8 talents, and we be acting like, oh, they're so magical. It's like, no, they just had the opportunity. One, they got to write all that stuff down later that they said they did, right? You know, but two, it's a socially accepted paradigm to speak of certain people in this multi-talented way, right? That we don't reserve for regular people, so to speak, go call regular people. You know what I'm saying? All of us got, you know, grandparents and parents and know people in your neighborhood or that's in your community that did mad stuff. You know what I mean? They was the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. They was, you know, they did the hustle. They did the bingo on Saturdays and the thing. They did, you know, parties. They did boat things. You know what I mean? They did all kinds of stuff. But we don't always honor that as sort of like, really, you got a lot of talents. Right. Right. We just go, and a lot of skills, we just go, oh, well, you know, those are hustles, or they don't matter, or whatever. And I just think that's terrible. I think that, cool. So that's my little segue on that.
Yeah. I just think something has to be first. Yeah. You know, that's it.
Cool. Yeah. So, next question. Right now, what is sort of the most important thing going on for you right now, or something that's just really significant for you right now in your life?
So I got, you know, personal, business, community, like in different lanes. Mm-hmm. You mean like the most important thing, or like important things in all those lanes?
What's maybe two of the things that when we leave this room, if you got 20 minutes to yourself, which one of what's going to pop in your head that you're going to think about?
This screenplay that I just wrote that I'm going to Sundance for, and it's loosely based on this solo play that I've been doing called Cops and Robbers. It's about an officer-involved shooting. And, you know, I go into the relationship between law enforcement, the media, and the black community. And in the screenplay, I also added a love story to it. So I got selected to go to the Sundance Screenwriters Lab in January, which is a huge honor. It's like 3,000 people that submit screenplays, from all over the world, and they choose 12 projects to focus on, and mine is one of them. So I'm going to go, and they're going to put me with 5 or 6 professional writers, and they're going to help me to, focus on the strongest parts and tell the best story possible, basically.
Indeed.
And then they'll assist me in getting it out there, getting it on film, putting a team together, and going to find some money and giving me the game. So it's a good graduate school for me.
Indeed.
A week-long graduate school. So that's huge.
Indeed.
I feel like everything is, come up to this point. I tried to take every other road. I tried to cut all types of people in. I tried to get managers, agents, lawyers. Somebody please come and take a percentage of this money and let's get it together. And at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to have to write my way to the next level.
Indeed.
I'm just going to have to put it on my back and make a solo play where I play 19 characters. Man, you read 100 books and it's, be a team player. And, you just try to take you just can't stop, I guess, man. You just keep trying different approaches until you get what you want. So, that's where I'm at right now. I'm on my way to Sundance. I'm a happy camper. Indeed. I got a family that supports me. I'm a happy dude.
That's amazing. That sounds really exciting. I think there's nothing. I mean, in my very personal life, in terms of my own activation of my own cultural, personal understanding of myself and articulation of life in the world, I've had the benefit of, as I like to say, having some master classes where you engage with somebody that's done a level of study or self-development, where you get to, as you're learning something and a skill, you can share that information. You can benefit from their mastery, right?
Right.
I think that how important do you think it is for you with this experience to get that access to people who have had success, but not just success so much as they know how to do their craft? Like, how do you think that will impact your own way you approach your craft?
Oh, it's going to be huge because they're going to give me the skills. They're going to give me the rituals, and I mean, by rituals, I mean things that you do regularly for an intended result, like I'm studying some of these dudes, so these guys have, some of them write every day. All right. Like it's a job. They don't wait for inspiration. They sit down and they start writing and they turn off the phone and the TV and they don't get up until 3 or 4 hours later. That's their practice. Right. So there's some things that, I don't know about. I didn't go to school for this. Right. I didn't go to school for writing. So I expect to get those skills and those, that foundation, the rules to the game. I expect to go there and get that. Right. I expect to, go there and just being around people that are masters is a blessing, because some of that sunshine is going to rub off onto you, and it'll be, psychologically, it'll be to my benefit, and plenty of other ways. For networking purposes, it's just, I'm feeling good, man. I'm about to go win.
Indeed.
I'm winning right now.
Most definitely. And I'm
good.
I'm excited for you. For that.
Appreciate it.
I think it's, I don't know. I think hard work matters. And also folks, when I started working on this podcast, I debated the idea of do I only talk to people that I feel I can vouch for, or do I talk to people who just talk to people? And I think right now I'm still in the vouch for lane. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit down with nobody and I guess sit down with them and then release the interview. And it's like, that dude is sort of slime time, you know what I'm saying? And so I just, while we on the air, while we here, I want to let you know, we've known each other for a long time. We family. But, you're a good dude. You're a good man. And the the work that is required to maintain being a good man, being a good person, period, I think underappreciated in human circles. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of pressures. There's opportunities. People do things, say things. Things show up in your face. And it's not always easy to maintain, doing what you know would be the best thing to do. So
right.
I want to give you that love while we can.
I appreciate it. Right on.
So we are sort of at the point in the process where, we can. I would usually go, give me some a movie or music, something that, would, mean something a lot to you. But I know you got a very deep understanding of that, so I don't know how big a can of worms we're going to open up. Let's do this, because we went and saw Fences this week.
Mm-hmm.
What's just a thought, that you came out of that experience with? Shots fired, as I like to say.
It was brilliant. It was like watching the Harlem Globetrotters. The acting, the writing. It was just brilliant. I was just closely watching, everything that they did in their characters. And I've seen the play perform before. And when I saw the play performed, it was dope. But just watching, some of the greatest actors to ever act, and Denzel and Viola Davis, just watching them speak August Wilson's words, it was highly impactful.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, they had me.
Yeah.
They had me.
I gotta watch it again because there's a lot. There was a lot in there, and in terms of a story, when we left, remember, like I said to you, like I want to go call my grandfather.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's an articulation of an experience that our elders experienced in that movie that I think is greatly captured in that movie that I would not maybe be able to verbalize if I had to explain it to you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if other people see it, but I see it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. Man, that was
their reality.
Right.
Their limits, their perceived limits.
Mm-hmm.
What is considered courageous for them and what they were going through as opposed to what's courageous for us.
Right.
And how those two things could be, how we could we can misunderstand.
Right.
It's just, oh man, it was just amazing. It was just amazing. That was a gift.
Yeah, that's too deep. We'll say that for another time if we're going to analyze. This ain't to analyze the minutia moment. So I'll get you out of here on this one, and this is usually, people typically choose movies. But I'll give you movies or music on my closeout question.
Movies or music?
And then just tell me, then I'll ask the question. Once you tell me which lane you want me to ask it from.
Oh, wow. I wish I knew what the question was going to be. That's not how the game is played. Movies and music.
It is not.
All right. Let's go with we just talked about a movie, so let's go with music.
All right. So, can you give me an album or even it could just be one song or it could be a whole album that in one way, either good or bad, positive or negative, altered the direction of your life at any point in time?
Wow. Altered the direction of my life. An album. Wow, man. Altered the direction of my life?
Yeah. Or at least put a thumbprint on it. Where you was like, I was going this way, and then I listened to that, and I thought, maybe I'm doing something else.
When I when I think about different albums that have come out that that impacted me, the artist was great, the music was great, but I think more importantly, I was going through something at that time.
Okay.
I was, chasing a dream or fighting as hard as I possibly could,
Indeed.
I remember Me Against the World, Tupac's album. I was fighting for a football scholarship at that time.
All right.
Me and my homie, a couple of our partners, had gone off to black colleges, and a couple other ones had football scholarships to Division I schools, and we were at community college. And, with our heads down, just throwing punches as hard as we possibly could, and that was the priority. And then Tupac put out Me Against the World.
Right.
So that was dope. I remember Snoop Dogg, The Last Meal. My first tour as a rapper, he had just released The Last Meal.
All right.
So I just remember being on a tour bus freestyling. You know how you had those that week or two in your lifetime where the freestyle just got gold dripping off of it, and you saying to yourself, "I ain't never gonna write again. I'm just gonna freestyle for the rest of my life."
Yeah, there's a 15-minute tape somewhere where I was on fire. I don't know whatever happened to that tape. I can't find it. I was on fire though. I was like, yo, I'm the greatest. I'm about to rap. I'm a retired rapper for those that ever heard. I don't know.
What is that? It's just like it opened up, the channel opened up in the heavens, the trumpets play from the heavens, and, you just going, you in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like when I think about these albums, it's because of it has a lot to do with what was going on in my life at that time.
Yeah.
So Me Against the World was dope. And when All Eyes on Me came out, I had my football scholarship.
All right, you was ready.
So I was at school, with a new set of homies, and we going, and it's all eyes on me. I mean, the dude was like, he was marking, he was writing a soundtrack for my life at that time. What else? I remember Naughty by Nature, that first album that came out when I was in high school. Now, I don't know if it was their first album, but, it was hard. It really got me thinking about rapping. It gave me an appreciation for rap.
All right.
It did, because I was an athlete. I was a football player. And, it hasn't been, Eugene Robinson wrote in Disintegration, there hasn't been one black community since the 50s or 60s, and it's like it kind of is splintered. It's more than one black community.
Right.
And we were football players, and the poets were the poets, and the super black revolutionary conscious brothers were who they were.
Right.
The drug dealers were the drug dealers. And,
right.
We all knew each other, but we wasn't necessarily, all running in the same circles. It's like I was a football player, man. And when that Naughty by Nature album came out, that gave me a different respect for dudes that was rapping. I started taking my rap skills a little more seriously. So yeah, it's a number of different albums. Man, Jodeci, Forever My Lady, that album.
Right.
That was yeah, man. It's always around. I'll say the time period that I love most in music was the early to mid 90s.
All right.
That's the time period I love most in music, man. We had love songs, man. And it's ironic because just talking about it right now, I remember during that time period talking about, man, love is a waste of time, bro. We too young to be loving anything. And, you know, is it whatever we fall in love with, we ain't going to be with. We just setting ourselves up for heartbreak. And now I'm talking about we had love songs, right? But I tell you how it, I remember the first time I heard a young brother call a sister a bitch. I remember the first time.
Right.
You know, I was a senior in high school, and I remember it was like a line had been crossed.
Right.
You know, and the dude said it so matter of factly, and it was because of the influence of the music. Straight up. Right. I don't care what nobody say. I'm not trying to hear that bullshit. It was because of the influence of the music. Rappers were calling women bitches in the music, and this is why that cat said it. And then like an avalanche. That was like the summertime right before my senior year. And by the end of my senior year, almost everybody was calling sisters bitches. And it was because of the music. Fuck what you're talking about. All you cats just say the music don't affect, reality and what's going on, and that's bullshit. It was because of the music. It was cool to call the sisters a bitch all of a sudden within a year, you know? And now, man, you turn on the radio, man, you want to listen to a love song, you got to go to one of the white stations.
All right. You gotta listen to like the classic rock or something.
Yeah.
You gotta listen to the slow jams or the Kitty G station
go
or whatever.
To alternative or top 40 or something.
Right. Man.
You know, you ain't gonna hear it on the hip hop station. You ain't even gonna hear it on even the R&B singers is gang banging right now. You know, and I'm a defender of our culture. I'm a defender of our music.
Indeed.
You know, I straight up defend it to the end of time. If you don't know the culture and you don't know the music, then I don't want to hear any critique of it, you know. But at the same time, since I am defending it, you know, I'm also going to uplift the period of our music that inspired us to love each other, you know. And that was in the early to mid 90s.
Indeed. I mean, before we left, I know I was going to let you go on that one, but it sparked something for me. Do you think we can we bring the love back?
Absolutely.
Word.
Absolutely. It's right around the corner.
Okay.
It's right around the corner. We just got some more warring to do right now. Okay. All the wars are breaking out right now. Yeah. Everything is getting burned down. People then hip-hop and sold his ass. You know, you got cats buying the album and not letting nobody listen to it.
Right.
You know, like I said, you can't worship money and people at the same time. Right. You know, hip hop is something that came from the underground. It's African. It's from the spirit. It's fighting the power, and it's against the structure of everything, and it's against bullshit, and it's 100% honesty. And then somewhere along the line, hip hop became American. Hip hop got its citizens papers. You know, hip hop integrated into the United States of America, and it adopted the values of capitalism and being an American as its own. Right, and that's not what, you know, that, and when once that happens, oh man, then you just, you another business.
Right.
You another business, and businesses are for sale. Don't even start a business unless you can envision selling it, unless you have an exit strategy. Otherwise, it's not a business. It's just you created your own job. You know, hip hop is a business. So these dudes are for sale. And that hurts, and it don't just hurt us that remember what hip hop was like. It hurts everybody. They just can't articulate it. Right. They don't know why they hurting. They don't know why they so mad. They don't know why they flying off at the handle. You know, when some shit happened that reminds them that they done sold their ass. You know. But that's what's going on right now. So it's going through a deep purification process. Right. All this wars it's wars in the conscious community, man.
Right, man. I wasn't gonna bring it up.
Maybe you shouldn't. I don't know.
Because I don't really even. Well, we might have to table that for future discussion.
But I'm just saying, man, it's like we living in there's some shit going on right now. I don't know if I'm supposed to be cussing. You know,
you can.
There's some shit going on right now, man. It's war. Wars are breaking out.
Yeah,
we warring.
Indeed.
You know?
I always say, I think, it's like, I think in life you have that you ain't the boss of me moment. You know what I'm saying? Once upon a time, we was recording at a friend of ours and a producer's place. Shout out to Oyo. And his neighbor was having an argument. And like we heard dude go, "You ain't the boss of me." And we all looked at each other and said, "She is the boss of you." like the minute you say that, and not to make any, this ain't about their relationship. This is about the moment as a person. When you are telling somebody that's kind of running your world, "You ain't running my world."
Yeah,
they are running your world right now. And in that dissonance moment, you either make an adjustment, right? Or you and you may also snap out at that moment. So you have an incident. You OD on some substance. You wild out on a video. You go on stage, start dissing your mans or any number, and y'all can fit the shoe fits. You go ahead and wear it. This fits you out there in the world. But I feel like these moments hit us, on the larger level if you out in certain areas of public, the public eye, so to speak, but also in our personal lives. You know what I'm saying? Where you been doing something or living something and you have, wait a minute, I ain't addicted to this. I quit this whenever I want. No, you can't. No, you can't. If you could quit it, you would have quit it already. You know what I'm saying? We both know, as I've told people for years, like, you can lie to everybody else. You can't lie to yourself. Yeah. You know what's happening with you, and you have to choose to honor, like, when the moment, like, all right, the rubber's hitting the road right now. And so yeah, I feel that. I think you want to add on any more of that? I ain't want to cut you off. I just wanted to add on.
I was listening to what you was talking about. I forgot what I was saying.
Word, that's peace. But I think just that that conflict, the truth has to surface. Even in our current age with my initial thought, when Obama was elected was it's going to be a buck wild snapback on the other end of this. Because that's all the truth got to come out of people. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's a fundamental thing, I believe. Over time, whoever you are, you can only suppress so much of that. And depending on the culture and the people that you're around. I lived this from, rolling with my own, like my closest cohort, of brothers. If you kicked it with us and if you was suppressing some part of you that was sort of suckerish, that was going to show up eventually, because it's too much like rigorous truth going on for you to be there like faking it, like you know what I mean. And not saying you had to be who we was, but you had to be honest about who you was. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think within the history of African people and many other cultures, there is a concept of like you being who you supposed to be within the community that we are. And when people is faking the funk and half being this, half being that, when folks start trying to be, look, I'm going to just be truthful. Even if who I am is sort of whacked, it's who I am. I ain't going to lie about it. Those that is faking the funk, it just start to itch, start to show up, and it's gonna come out. So, yeah. So, that's peace.
Yeah, man. Whew. We gonna snap back. The truth is coming. The truth is coming. Right. And cats gonna realize that they just got to start loving each other, man.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be like a big conscious choice. Right. I think it's just gonna start happening because that's how it happens with us as a people. Whatever medicine we need, somebody show up with it one day, and we all start taking it. You know, and then our culture resemble that. So
we'll start spreading it again. So. Word. Well, Jinho, I want to thank you for joining me.
Appreciate it, man.
I really appreciate it. So when this goes up, all of you listening, obviously will find it at that time. But hopefully we will have some further adventures, some other details of the things you've been working on that I'll be able to share with people. And, we'll just go from there. So anything you want to say before I close this out?
Man, just appreciate the talk. Always looking for more wisdom and more tools.
All right. Indeed. Well, thank you for joining me. This has been the Ask Your Oldhead Podcast. Be safe. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't take no wood nickels. Don't stand up in a rowboat. And, you know what I'm saying? Love the one you with. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would say. But in all things, travel safely. Peace.
Peace.